Happy Friday Eve. Welcome to Faith, Focus, and Finish Strong. As most of you guys know, my name is Marcia, and I'm so excited to have you guys on the call tonight. Before we get started, just want to let you know that we had a special guest scheduled for tonight, but unfortunately this morning, she sent me an email saying that something came up and she's not going to be able to make it. So I was like, Lord, what am I supposed to do? Like, what am I supposed to do? And so I, did my talking to God. And luckily, one beautiful lady by the name of Patrice agreed to come on tonight. And I'm just so excited because I was just asking God, like, okay, am I just supposed to get on and just start talking, just having an open discussion? Should I plan something? My day is already so busy. Like, what do you want me to do? I can't cancel because, a lot of ladies, even myself, I look forward to Thursdays at 8:30. And so I'm like, God, what should I do? And so I'm so grateful that Patrice said yes for tonight. Just thank you so much, Patrice, for agreeing to come on tonight. Tonight, ladies, we're going to be talking about learning how to weather the storm. As most of us have all experienced a storm in the last couple of months with COVID-19 and now with everything that's going on with Black Lives Matter. And so I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone and then we'll get started. Okay. So, guys, please use the chat feature just to talk to us, engage with us. After we finish with the discussion, we will open it up for questions and comments because I really want to know and ask everyone, like, how are you doing? Like, it's time for a mental health check-in. You know that saying, they say check on the strong ones, because I know all these women on this talk are strong. And sometimes we just say, we're good, but then we're not good. So tonight we have Patrice. Patrice is a believer, a mother, entrepreneur, and she's bilingual. And my favorite thing, she is a foodie. So Patrice is from North Carolina. Woo, woo. North Carolina, please stand up.
Yes.
From North Carolina with an appetite for all things global and connecting with people through food and cultural experiences. Her mission is to bring people back to the table one meal at a time, in addition to making it easy to gather and enjoy. Patrice's passion for cooking gave birth to her company, Absolute Joy in Ministry. In fact, she calls herself the Joy Architect because her sincere desire for all of us is to experience authentic, sustaining, unadulterated joy, regardless of our circumstance. She is a community advocate in the areas of education, human relations, church, young people, moms, and many other areas. Welcome, Patrice. We're so excited to have you on the show tonight. How are you doing?
So thankfully I am well. I'm glad to be here, honored to be here. So thank you so much for asking me and looking forward to chatting with all these lovely ladies. Yes, I'm glad to be alive. We're in the last week of school. Tomorrow's last official day. And so I'm super excited about summer break starting tomorrow.
Whoop, whoop. Ours start on Monday, so I'm a little excited as well. Yes, this homeschooling thing has not been fun.
It's been a very interesting experience.
So, Patrice, let me ask you, as we dig in talking about learning how to weather the storm, how do we face challenging times?
So I think my mom has a saying when we was growing up. She would say, you have to prepare for war in the time of peace. And so sometimes you'll hear people talk about how you just can't start praying and thanking God when you're in a trial. There should be a relationship and things that we do on the front end. So one of the ways that I do that is, some days I'm more consistent than others. Some weeks I'm more consistent than others. But for the most part, I try to fortify myself by studying the word, by prayer, because the word is life. You learn more about God, you learn more about his promises. And so when you're asking for prayers, You can pray his word back to him. But also when trials come, if you know the word, you understand that what we're experiencing is not unique to the human experience. It may be our first battle through it, but it's not unique. And so for preparing for storms, you have to be increase your faith and trust in God. And you do that by reading his word and prayer. And actually, one of the things that I like to do is when things do happen in my life, I like to turn to him first, right? Instead of telling everybody about it, instead of, crying a pity party many times, I immediately go to prayer. And that only comes because I've gone through trials and I know that he's done it before, he'll do it again. And that when I've relied on him, I let go of my education, I let go of what I thought was right or what I felt, and really let him lead me. It turned out so much better.
Wow, you are so right. Preparation is key. I think that a lot of times that, like you said, people don't prepare. They just, don't do the steps to prepare themselves, because we know that life is challenging and life is going to come with storms. We cannot get away from storms. I don't even care if we're walking with God. That does not stop the storms from coming. To be honest, I feel like they come stronger.
Yes.
Walking with him, when we are calling on his name and spending time with him, they're like, whoosh, you don't even see it coming. And so I think that, like you said, preparation is key. Being able to, because I feel like, do you feel like sometimes we get like warning signs that a storm is about to come?
Sometimes I think it's true. I think that or we keep getting tested in the same area, so we get familiar with the pattern, right? And I like to think that, he's not going to stop testing us in those areas until we pass the test. And passing the test means, being able to handle it in a spiritual way, not a natural reaction to it, but a spiritual way, whether it's praying for somebody who's done us wrong, whether it's, turning the other cheek, whether it's, fasting and prayer and doing several things to be able to defeat the devil.
You're so right. Sorry about that. My son.
No, I have it's okay. I think we're all mamas, so we get it.
Most are. And so so I totally agree with everything that you're saying. It's because like sometimes we wonder why we keep facing the same thing. Like we're going in cycles. It's like I'm going in circles, and it's like I found myself previously in places where it's like I feel like I'm doing everything right. Like, God, I feel like I'm listening to you. I feel like, I'm reading my word. I'm going to church. I'm serving others. I'm doing all, but I feel like I'm still going in circles. And exactly what you said is usually God tends to shine light on the areas where he wants to strengthen and grow us.
Yes.
And in order for God to be able to take us to the next level, we have to get it all together. Because sometimes we think we have it all together, but God was like, wait, did you forget how you were not showing up at work like you're supposed to? You're upset with your coworker, or you're upset with your boss. But God is like, well, wait a minute, you don't work for your boss, you work for me. Let's remember that your work is your worship.
Okay.
And so I think like what you said is key. So like whenever you feel like you're going in a cycle and like the same type of situations keep happening in your life, that's when you need to dig deep and start talking to God. It's like, God, what are you trying to teach me? Where are you trying to grow me? Where are you trying to strengthen me? Because we think that we got it all together, but God is like, nah, shorty, you still got some work to do here.
Yeah.
And so let me ask you, because sometimes when you're going through a storm, you've been into a tunnel before, right? Like dark tunnel. You ever been into a dark tunnel and it's like you can't see any light, right? And so it's almost like the same thing when you're going through a storm, and some of us are like, well, God is telling me to trust him, but I don't see the end. I don't see nothing changing. So how, when we're going through a storm, how could we trust God more?
Sure. So it's the baby steps, right? Sometimes we go through very difficult things, and sometimes it's in the small things. So for example, when school was in session, okay, I have 4 children, and the morning routine can be very, very fast paced, busy, and sometimes a struggle. And so this year I was at 3 different schools, and we all kind of, and I work outside the home sometimes. And so there were days when I have to be in basically 4 places or more at the same time. That's virtually impossible. And so my children don't get up in the morning, all these things. The reason why I'm using this example is because I remember thinking, God, I've tried everything I can. I cook breakfast, I play music. I just don't know. So I need for you to help me get my children ready and safely to school and on time. That was my prayer to him. And so I prayed and I let it go. I gave it to him and I let it go. And I was getting ready to, before I prayed that prayer, I was going to reach out to the transportation department. I was going to reach out to the Board of Education, because I felt like, we need a little bit of leeway with the school entry times. Long story short, it so happened that his bus, I get a phone call or email saying that like 2 of the buses would be coming a little bit later. So that bought us 10 to 15 minutes of time, right? And something else happened that to make it, like, to add 20 more minutes to my morning routine time, which meant that, I could basically get everybody on and off to school and be off to work the days I had to work outside the home on time. And some people may see that as a very small thing or trivial thing, but when you're in the midst of all that, it's a very big thing. And I remember thinking and thanking God, I prayed, I trusted that you work it out, and I didn't even have to write a letter or email or anything, that you had them do something to alleviate on the morning struggle. So that's a small thing, but there are other things in our life, like when we lose a loved one, whether it be divorce or death, right? Or other matters. But the small things like this transportation to school are stepping stones to build my faith. I say, okay, God, you handle the bus situation. Now you're going to handle, financial situations. Now you can handle other things. But it comes with us realizing that he really has our best interest at heart. He really considers us his sons and daughters. And as his sons and daughters, like he said, if I take care of the lilies of the field, if I take care of the birds of the sky, then why wouldn't I do it for my children? And when you read, or again, it goes back to reading the word and let it sink in your heart and your mind, and then in your spirit, then you begin to say, wait a minute, God, you don't even want me to have to worry about what I'm going to eat. That I don't have to, sometimes I think in our education and our desire to know what's going to happen at the end of the tunnel, we want to know before it happens. And God is saying, no, if I am your father, if I'm the king of everything, if I can do the impossible, then trust me to do it without telling you anything, right? Because some of us couldn't handle what was around the tunnel. Because if we look at ourselves, we can't see what God sees in us. And so he may see something very big in us that we can't even grasp yet. So it's not for us to know. So we have to trust. And what I will say is, as I took the small steps, taking the big steps were a little bit easier. But it's a process over time. It did not happen overnight. It came from me being able to trust God to the mundane things, like getting my children ready for school and getting them on time, to me trusting him when, going through a divorce or, other life changes and things like that in my life.
Wow, you brought up some really great points. It's like, you just have to trust God, and God is not going to show us or tell us what is going to happen along the journey, because like you said, like, we probably look at it and be like, U-turn, I'm
not going through that.
I am not going through that. I don't know who that's for, but it is not for me.
Yes, I have been there.
It's like, we have to truly understand, one, who God is, and we have to understand who God says we are, not who our parents say we are, not who our education say we are, not who our past, our friends, anybody say we are. We have to understand who God says we are, which means we have to find our identity in God and then believe in it. And then it's just like, okay, like you said, if he did it before, he did it again. I find that it's hard for most people to trust him with small things. Like, a lot of people can generally trust him. Like, he's done so much in our lives, and we trusted him with the big things. But then when it comes to like the little small things, that we struggle with, like, trusting him. And the thing is, like, God is, first of all, waiting for us all the time. It's not like us waiting for him. He's waiting for us. Because have you ever prayed and been like, well, God is not answering my prayer, And it's like, well, daughter, I've answered your prayer like 2 weeks ago, but you don't want to listen because you didn't trust me, because we think that, is he talking to me? He cannot be talking to me. I'm not able to do that. I don't have the skill set. I don't have the money. I don't want to jump out there. I don't want to be by myself. But God is like, I'm with you. I've already set your path straight. I've already opened that door. That money that you're talking about is right there. All you got to do is take the first step.
Right.
So those are some really, great points that you bring up.
And before you continue, I was going to say, you brought up a good point. And I would say, you have to learn how to listen to God, because sometimes it's like the Bible says, it's that still small voice. There are a lot of things that have our attention, a lot of things that create a lot more noise. And sometimes it's that little voice in your heart or in your head where you that's saying to go a different way, or to do something that you might not have thought about, or something that you had been, you've forgotten about. But sometimes it's a matter of listening to the small voice, the low voice, the whisper.
And since you bring up that, can you elaborate on that more? Because I feel like people truly don't understand how to discern the voice of God.
Okay.
That we have like you said, it's that small voice. Like we have many voices that go on in our head. It's like the voice of the world, the voice of our flesh, the voice of an enemy, and then the voice of our past. Of what
outside world, right?
People the outside world previously said. And I know people, they'll say, because I was one, and I'm like, because you hear people say all the time that, oh, God told me I heard from God. And I'm like, I'm sitting around, and I think I told my bestie this before. I'm like, well, I'm still waiting for God to talk to me, like people always saying, but
yeah, I have been there.
And I'm like, so when is he going to show up? I mean, I feel like I'm doing everything right. And I know that I'm following him because I have peace. It's just blessing and favor all around me. But it's like, I don't hear, this is God. Marcia, do you know what I'm saying?
Go that way.
So how do you go about discerning the voice of God?
That is an excellent question. And like you, it was something that I struggled with for a long time. I was like, am I going to hear him? But the same way things that you said. And this is what I will say. You have to quiet your heart. I'm not a person who does yoga or meditation, but one thing that I have learned from the practice of mindfulness, which a lot of people are using these days, is you have to still your mind and your heart. You have to focus. And what I would pray was, God, I need for your Holy Spirit. I want to hear your Holy Spirit. I want to be able to hear your voice when you speak to me. And I had to learn that speaking is not always audible. Sometimes it's through his words. So I could be reading a passage or devotion or listening to a sermon or listen to a song. And all of a sudden, it's like the thing that I was praying for, the answer or the message comes out in there. And I will say, thank you, God. And then when I begin to accept that, there's confirmations and affirmations along the way to say, yes, that was the voice of God. So for example, me stepping out on faith to become an entrepreneur, right? That was me. It was 9 months of prayer. And because I was doing it part-time first. It was about 9 months of prayer. I had another part-time job, and me being able to say, God, I want to be a great mother. I want to be able to provide for my family, and I don't want to have to give up, I don't want them to have to compete with each other as much. And I needed flexibility because, like I said, I'm the mother of 4. And it was maybe the 9th month I want to say a meeting at work or something, but I remember just hearing in my spirit, it's okay. Like, you can go. Like he was telling me I could leave that job and to trust him that he was going to take care of me. And the moment I decided to do that, I gave my part-time job a 60-day notice because I wanted to, it was important work. I didn't want to leave them hanging. I wanted to help be in the process of helping them find somebody else, but also to give, transition period. And I remember almost instantly from me saying yes to that voice, like literally a week later, I get several phone calls about events, several like things that were opening up doors that were leading me down the path to entrepreneurship. Things that I had no idea, how they would talk about how your gifts make room for you. People who would say, oh, Beatrice, I heard about you did this, or I went to this thing that you've done before. I will have this, and this lined up. So for me, when I heard the voice, I acted on it. And I began to step in that direction. And as I did, God honored it by opening up more doors and windows, bringing people to speak to me. And like I said, it seemed simple, but as I took those steps, it increased my faith. So now I'm and this was in 2017. So almost 3 years ago, actually 3 years ago next month. But as I began to take the steps, it got easier. Okay, God, now I'm like 50 steps away from where I used to be. This thing is working. When you speak, let me move. If I trust you, you open up doors. And even in the midst of what's going on right now, because now I'm in a new phase, I'm an event planner. And so having bringing people together is how one way I make my money. And I'm having to do this again. Say, well, God, I know you gave this to me. I believe it's my ministry as well as my profession. And if that be the case, I'm trusting him that even post COVID-19, that whether we recreate something or do something different, that it will still be centered around what he's gifted me to do, which is bring people together.
Yes, I love it. I just wanted to add some things to what you said about discerning the voice of God. Like you said, it's not always like an audible voice that you hear or that small voice in your head. It could be something that you read as far as your devotion, something that you hear in church, or just you could be watching TV or just on the radio and
Yes.
hear something. But the thing is, like, when you're questioning if it's God or not, when it's God, when it's something that brings you peace and it does not contradict his word.
That's right.
Anything that's from God is not going to contradict his word, and everything from God is supposed to bring you peace.
That's right.
And also, like she said, confirmation too, because sometimes, I don't know, the Bible does say something about confirmation.
Yeah, 2 or 3 witnesses.
For how many confirmation you're supposed to receive, but like if God tells you to do something, if he says, like, if you're trying to figure out what your next steps are with your next career, your next business, or whatever what it is, you receive confirmation from other people. And it'll come in a way where you're just having a conversation with someone and it just comes up. You don't even bring it up.
Right.
It just comes up and you just be like, what? The things that people say, like, oh my God, deja vu, or that's such a coincidence. No.
Providence.
That's God, okay?
Yes.
There's no such thing as you're so lucky, this is such a coincidence, this is deja vu. No, it's not. It's God. Give him the glory, give him the praise and the honor. And so just look out for those things and always be open. Like she said, it's important to quiet your mind. I know, like, me as a mother of 3 and a wife and just a woman of 50 million things going on, it can be hard to quiet your mind. But I mean, it's so simple, because it's simply just like going for a nature walk or just taking a freaking long shower, just going for a long drive and don't even put the music on. So you just have to figure out ways to quiet your mind. And if you do have a lot of stuff going on in your mind, do a brain dump. Just start writing. Just get it out your head and do a brain dump. And so the next question, this is going to be the last question, then we're going to open it up for Q&A, is how do you, when you're going through a storm, so like right now, we're dealing with the COVID-19, we're dealing with Black Lives Matter, some people are dealing with financial setbacks. How do you not focus on all the negativity, and just really, and the problems and things like that, and just really focus on what God is trying to teach you during the storm? So like the lessons and the takeaways.
So I believe just as much as these things are happening to us in the natural, I believe there's a spiritual purpose behind all this. And for me, like I said, God has a very good track record with me. He has a history and we have a relationship. And so I have a lot of things before COVID-19 that were for me equally or worse than what we're experiencing now. And so because I really trust God, I have to remind them, there are times I'm like, God, now I can't see my way. I don't know how you're going to do it. And I've said that God will tell you, I say, I don't know how, I don't know when, and I don't know it, where it's coming from, but I know you can do it. And what I've learned I had to do was, like you said a few minutes ago, you made a great point. It's simple. We overcomplicate things. Sometimes we are so connected to a paycheck that the God of anything and the impossible, we limit him to just a paycheck. There are ways that God can take care of us without it being from the job that we get an income from. So a lot of people have their faith in their job. So you have to ask, who do you trust? The source that you're receiving the money from, or the resource or the source. And for me, God is my source. And it goes back to, like I said, those previous trials where there was no way, he's my provider. And I can say, like Abraham, Jehovah Jireh, like if having lost part of my income, I am still encouraged that the God of this earth, that the God who I serve is still able to take care of me. And he has done that. And what happened was about 2 years ago, I got reacquainted with the story of the widow of Zarephath. So if you remember the story of Elijah, when they were going through the famine, God had a raven feed Elijah, and he would get water from the brook. And he said, stay there until it runs dry. After that, he sent Elijah to Zarephath, where he met the widow, who was gathering wood to make her last meal. And there was a time when I was going through a transition in my life that I said, oh God, like that was my prayer. Just like you took care of that widow, oh God. And I would say, just like you took care of Haggai and other personal things or personal times in my life where he's taking care of me, I would say, I know you can do it again. And somebody would send something, like money would come from different directions, opportunities would come from different directions. But it was when I did not limit God to one place. So, well, God, I need this amount of money, I need this. That instead I was open to him blessing me how he saw fit to bless me. Because sometimes we think, like I said, it has to come one way, and God wanted to send it this way. Like you said in your example a few minutes ago, that the blessing's been there 2 weeks ago. You just haven't listened, or you didn't hear me when I said it, or I was telling you to go left and you want to do it the way you've been doing it for the past 15 years. And so I think we have to be, I know we have to be open to, if we trust him, if he's our Father, if he's our God, and he's sovereign, then even though we may think we need 10 degrees to get the amount of money we need to make, he may say, you need 1 degree or no degree, right? Like, I have gifted you to do whatever this thing is. And therefore, because I have gifted and anointed you to do so, you're going to have, my hand is over you, and you're going to be blessed and prosper. And so I have to constantly remind myself, whether it's saying scripture that I hold near and dear to my heart, whether it's listening to a sermon, whether it's listening to worship music, but something that's reinforcing that I trust God, that I trust God, I trust God. And again, it's the little steps. It's the, I'm working late tonight. I really don't have money to spend on takeout, but I don't have time to cook either. So I'll say, well, God, I'm gonna stop getting this takeout because I need to be a mama. And you'll make up for it somewhere down the line. And that's exactly what happens. Like, we haven't run out of anything, even though my income is different now, even though I'm not able to, work the same time I did. And again, I'm trusting God that he's gonna do it. Now, I think it's important to also recognize that, we grieve moments, that tragic things happen to us or the people that we love, or we are witnesses, like we were a few weeks ago, to the tragic things that happen. I think it's important to acknowledge those feelings, to mourn them, to grieve them. The Bible talks about mourning with those who mourn and rejoicing with those that rejoice. I think we need to do all this. It's healthy to cry, to get it out, to write about it, to talk to someone about it. But at the end of the day, we can't stay there. And I think for me, I am very in tune with how I feel. I recognize all the negative emotions just like I do the positive ones, but I choose not to stay there. I choose to go back to joy is my center. So I look for something to be grateful for. So even though I don't have X, I still have Y and Z. And so I'm going to focus on Y and Z, and either God is going to replace X or he's going to bring me LMNOP, but I'm open to him blessing me how he sees fit, not limiting him to what how I think he should bless me. He will take care of me.
Oh, I'm gonna let that sit there. I'm gonna just let that sit right there. Oh, you brought up some very good points. And before we roll into the Q&A session, I just wanted to piggyback off of some of the things that you said, and something that came to my mind when you were talking is, with the Lord, I trust you. The other day I told one of my girlfriends, because I started doing this, and this is why I shared it with her. I told her, I said that, trusting God is one of the hardest things I think we ever have to learn on this walk. Like, trusting him is really hard. I'm just being honest. For me, I don't know, it could be different for you all, but for me, it's been one of the hardest things. But what I've learned to start doing is, whenever I'm faced with anything that would make me not question him, I just continue to repeat and tell myself, Lord, I trust you. Mm-hmm. Lord, I trust you. I'll just keep telling myself, Lord, I trust you. And I challenge everyone on this call tonight to start doing that. To, like, no matter what comes, like the doctor says, oh, well, we need to do some additional tests, blah, 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 blah. Lord, I trust you. Your job says, well, we have to downsize, so we're going to have to let you go. Lord, I trust you. Your kids acting up in school.
Lord, I trust you.
I trust you. And so whatever you face, I want you to say, Lord, I trust you. But then I also challenge you that when you are faced with a storm, with a test, with a mountain, whatever it is, instead of looking at the storm, the test, and the mountain, I want you to say to God, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Like, what is the purpose? Yes, it hurts. Like she said, be honest about like, this hurts, this sucks. Mm-hmm. You can talk to God the way you talk to your girlfriend, your spouse. Like, this sucks. I don't know how am I supposed to deal with this, accept this, handle this, but it sucks. But Lord, I trust you, and I'm going to try to figure out what you're trying to teach me here. Because I know one thing is true is I'm going to make it on the other side of this. And I don't know how long I'm going to be in it, but I know one thing is for sure. I'm going to make it on the other side of this. But if I don't make it on the other side of this, I know one thing for sure. You will get the glory. And so you have to start looking at things as like, how is this going to bring glory to the kingdom? How is this going to change lives? Yes, sad things happen. People lose their life, and it's really sad. One day we will lose our life, and we don't know how. But in the transition of loss, amazing things happen. Look at this George Floyd thing. It is, I'm praying for his family constantly, but that was his purpose in this life. What happened to him, that was his purpose. If that wouldn't have happened to George Floyd, guess what? Will we be out here protesting like we are now? Matter of fact, did y'all see that his GoFundMe page, his memorial GoFundMe page broke records? Over 500,000 people have donated, and it's over $13 million. Right? So guess what? His daughter is taken care of for the rest of her life, right? So maybe things that she would have to worry about before, she don't have to worry about that. Yes, her father is gone. We can't bring, but now she look at her father as a hero. She's like, Daddy, you changed the world. Yes. Look how his death is bringing all of us together, not just the United States, but other countries are coming together. And the next thing, because, I don't know if you guys believe that everything is about preparation, and God definitely plans everything out. He's very strategic when he plans things out, because this happened in the middle of a pandemic when we're already all suffering, where we're already learning to come together because we are all suffering. We can understand what each other are going through, and we're all stuck at home, that he let this happen, which brings us together even more, right? And so whenever you're going through something, I don't care how much it hurts, like, ask God. First of all, let him know you trust him, and then what is the purpose? Because we have to remember, everything that happens in our life, it only happens to give him the glory. It only happens so, it can bring more people closer to him, right? And so that's my for tonight. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
And if I can say a quick thing while you're waiting, and you brought up some very good points, and I forgot to say, so the book of James is one of my favorite books in the Bible. It's just short, just 5 chapters. And in the beginning of the book of James is a verse in chapter 1 that says, for us, we should get happy when trials come our way. Why? Because they build patience, they build experience and hope. And so sometimes we have to hit rock bottom. Like you said, I always look at the positive with the negative, because even in something as gruesome as a death or murder of a man, like you said, everything you just said is so true, that all the good that has come of it, he had to lose his life, but there's a lot of good that has come and that will come of it. While we're sitting here attentive and we can't move, everyone was open to receiving and seeing how, wow, we really do have an issue racially in this country, and now we need to do something to change it, to move the needle in a different direction. So what you just said was very good.
Thank you. And one thing that I also wanted to add on to that is, like, someone has said this on one of the calls that I did, and I think we were talking about how grateful we you know, what we were grateful for. We were talking about what we were grateful for. And then someone was saying that, you know, just be mindful of, you know, what you say, because you don't know how it affects other people. Because I think we all were talking about how we were still able to work and we still had income, and maybe somebody else who was on the call, maybe they don't have income at the time. And, you know, one thing that comes to my mind is we all should be grateful regardless of what we have, but we all still should be able to celebrate and be happy for others.
Yes.
Now, if they're winning and we're not winning, so what? We still should celebrate and be happy for them, because God looks for a what? A grateful heart. So
Yes.
we see that you're able to celebrate and be happy for each other and not start feeling sad and bad about yourself because they have something that you don't have. Then he's looking at you like, well, you still have a lot to learn. In order for me to release this, I need you to work on your heart. You know, yes, I blessed her with this, right? So be happy for her, but you don't know what she went through to
get it.
so why I opened that door for her. You don't know what she had, the battle that she had to go through to get there. And I'm still working on you. And we have to remember that everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different journey. Everybody has a different path. And, you know, I was saying to my friend, I was just like, you know what, you know, you're right. But then I started thinking, I was like, wait a minute, but everybody that's home, last time I checked, they get unemployment. Wait a minute. And then they're getting an extra $600 on top of what they're already, whatever they're already supposed to get. And most people are getting paid way more than they was getting paid when they were working. And then on top of that, then they just get a stimulus check. And I'm like, now, not only are they getting paid, but they're getting paid to sit at home and do nothing. So you know what? I should be mad at them right now because I'm sitting at home working, taking care of my kids, doing school, like nothing ever changed, right? So, you know, at the same time, we just have to like be able, because we have to celebrate our wins.
Yes, we do.
Have to not, I shouldn't be quiet about my win because it might affect you. No, it's my win. I work for this win. Like this win didn't come easy. It took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get here. I'm going to celebrate. Any questions or comments, ladies?
Hi, Marcia.
Hi, beautiful.
Hi, my baby. I was just listening, and I'm enjoying you and Patrice. I was thinking as Patrice was talking, my devotion this morning, as I was doing my devotion this morning, it was from Isaiah 43:19, where it says, "Behold, I will do a new thing." And that's one reason I wanted to join the call tonight, because I'm like, weathering the storm, that's God doing a new thing, you know. And I remember years ago, and I just want to say this to encourage all these beautiful sisters on the call tonight, because hold on to what God has shown you. And one thing you have to do, you have to believe the word of God. You can't waver from what God says. If God say it, it is so, and it shall be. God doesn't lie. He's not the son of man. He's not your daddy, not your brother, not your friend. He is not going to lie. If God said it, it's a guaranteed thing you could take for the bank if God said it. And one of the things I posted on in my Instagram page this morning, and he's saying that you are destined for greater. And I want everybody to know you are destined for greater. So no matter how the storm looks, see, and that's the thing, when we look at the storm, we look at what's going on right now. So no matter how the storm looks, you have to believe and trust God that you are destined for greater. No matter what's going on around you, you could be in the middle of a hurricane or a tornado, but you have to believe that you are coming out stronger. One thing I hold on to, a dream that I had years ago, and it was right after my divorce. And my son and I, it was a storm going on outside. And I'm from down South Carolina, so I have seen some really bad hurricanes. I've been in the middle of Hurricane Hugo. I've seen Hurricane Fran came to North Carolina. I've been in some bad hurricanes where it had damaged my house. So in this dream, back to the dream, in this dream, a storm was going on outside. And when I opened the door, it took the door off the hinges. And I grabbed my son and I took him and I held him tight and went inside of the coat closet and right there in my hallway. And I remember getting on the floor with him, and I had him in a fetal position with my arms wrapped around him. And when the storm was over, we went out and we lost everything. And then when I remember, I didn't get the interpretation of that dream until later. God was telling me from that dream, the way you was holding on to your son and you had him in the midst of that storm, you better believe anytime anything you go through, Tammy, you have to trust me. I got you covered. I will always protect you. I will never leave you or forsake you. You could stand on my word. I will shelter you. And I tell you, God has never failed. I've been through some stuff. I've been through some trials and tribulations, but God has kept his word to me. He has never failed. And every time when I get into that tough situation, he always reminds me, remember how you had your son. My son is 27 years old now, out to be 28, okay? He's a school teacher, but God always remind me, how did you remember, I got you. You can't go if you in God's hand, there's no devil in hell could pluck you out of God's hand. Now you could jump out of God's hand, but no devil in hell can take you out of the hands of God. But I just wanted to share that when we were talking about weathering the storm. But I just thank God because it's just so in alignment with what I studied this morning about being whole. God would do a new thing. He was faithful. He'll make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Let me tell you, when God makes a way in wilderness, you can't see nothing when you're in the wilderness because your vision is cloudy in the wilderness. And for the Lord to make rivers in a desert, in a dry place, that means in your dry place, God will make a way out of no way. In your worst place, God will make a way out of no way. So I thank God for the word. I thank God because it's just confirming that confirmation that you were talking about, Marcia, that it's just confirming my devotion this morning with you and Patrice tonight. It just confirming God's word don't never need a confirmation. That's clear. I want to clear that. God's word stands all by itself. It's true. It never needs a confirmation, but it's confirming to me about how God will always keep me in the midst of no matter what's going on.
You better take us to church. Where's the offering plate at? Because that word she just gave us. Thank you so much, Tammy, for sharing that. And I think that's one of the important things of whenever we make it out of a storm is to share it with other people. And I thank you so much for being open to sharing that.
Bless you.
She's in North Carolina, Beatrice.
Very good. No wonder. But thank you for the encouraging word. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it too. So yes, everything you said is so true.
Bless you.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Anyone want to bless us with any comments or testament to what we're speaking on tonight?
Or tell us how you're doing, how you're weathering the storm, right?
Yes. So y'all must just be right in the middle of the storm, still trying to figure out how to get out, huh? That's why we can't hear your voice. You still trying to get out? I get it. I understand. So as we transition, Beatrice, do you have any final words for the audience?
Sure. So I think Sister Tammy summed it up too, and we've talked about a lot of things tonight. God is God all by himself. He is so trustworthy. He cannot lie. He can do the impossible. We are his daughters. And like a good father, a good father, he wants to take care of us. And we have to make sure that our trust in him is not circumstantial. That means so long as I have this job, so long as I'm married to this person, so long as my children are healthy, that when our joy is not based and gratitude is not based and relationship with him is not based on circumstances, then we understand who he is and the identity that you talked about earlier, Marcia. Then we won't waver the same way. We remind ourselves of his promises by staying in his word. That's why it's important to read the word, to memorize the word, whether it's 50 scriptures or 5 or even 1, but something you hold deep in your heart. Affirmations truly work. I would use them for my children. I use them for myself, and they change or they evolve. I add to them, or I have to create new ones based on my circumstances. But I will say, and I even put them on my phone at certain times and they come up and pop up. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. It's a reminder that God is with me, who I am in Christ. And just like he did it before, I know I've said this again earlier, but he did it before, he will do it again. God has a great track record. And even if we don't understand some things we won't understand on earth, we may not even understand after death. But just know that if he's God, a trustworthy God, that whatever he has placed before us is for us. And the only way we're going to be able to distinguish the things that we put ourselves in versus things that he put us in is by knowing the word. And like you said, it's when we get that peace and the confirmation about that, and it lines up with the word of God about what our path should be and where we should go. So my hope is that if you are feeling down and you're not weathering the storm, because it's a walk. I wasn't always this strong, right? There were times when I wanted to have control of all my education, my talents, my connections. I was trying to make things work, right? And it was costing me a lot of energy, time, and emotion. And the moment when I hit rock bottom and I said, God, literally, I had no other way out. I said, God, you're my only option. And I'm going to trust you. I don't know how, I don't know what you're going to do, who you're going to do it with, but I believe that you can do it. And when I relinquished trust to him, it was like a 10,000 weight, was removed from my body. And from that point on, I have traveled light. I've been able to do more trusting him than I did when I was orchestrating. And just a brief example, like I said, I had 4 kids. I was a stay-at-home mom for a while, and I re-entered the workforce part-time. And the opportunity came up for a week-long work conference in San Antonio, Texas. And at this point, my children always traveled with me, but I would have to go for work by myself. So I remember seeing the opportunity thing, going, okay, God, I would love to be the one. So my supervisor asked me to apply for a scholarship to go. I said, well, Lord, if I get it, I know that's you. So I got the scholarship. So then the old me, so I'm the person who I'm a planner. So I need to know what time it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, how many people, all these things. And so a huge part was somebody to be me for a week, basically, right? And so that was July. September, so I asked my mom, and my mom couldn't do it. I asked my ex-husband, he couldn't do it. And so I said, well, God, the old me would have said, okay, you know what? I'm not going to go. I don't know what's going to happen the trip was in October. If I don't know by August what's going to happen, I'm not going to go. Long story short, I said, I'm not going to do it this time. God, I want to go. I want you to make it away. I left it at that. It wasn't until 3 weeks before the trip that things were finalized. 4 people had to be me. But the old me would have missed a beautiful opportunity to travel away. I came back, my children all gone to school, nobody was sick, my house wasn't burnt down, but I had to relinquish trust to God. And again, it may be a mundane example to some, but it was a huge leap of faith for me to leave my children in the hands of other people for, in my house for a week while I'm like hundreds of miles away, right? And can't get there, So God showed me that when I relinquish control, I let him handle it his way, not give my input, then he opens up doors, opportunities. And still one of the best conferences I ever attended in my life. It opened doors in so many ways professionally. And I've been growing ever since.
Ooh, that was amazing. Thank you for those final words. And like you said, like when you trust God, I don't even know how to describe it, because the last, I would say probably like 2-3 years of my life is just me being able to trust God. And like people who've been in my life for years are like, well, where did you get all this confidence and boldness and blah, blah, blah from? He said, go. And I said, okay, when you want me to show up, I'm ready. How you want me to show up? And, I promised myself that, because we show up, we go out, we go to work, we go to events, we do things and we show up. But the thing is, now when I show up, I don't just show up. I show up and I show out, because I know that God has placed something inside of me that someone needs to see, someone needs to hear, someone needs to believe. So guess what? When I show up not as me, but as him. I will allow him to take full control. And so trusting him is such an amazing thing. You know, once you experience it, you just like, I don't want to go back. I don't want that. I don't want to go back.
And it's freeing. It's actually liberating.
Yes.
Like I said, I would spend hours making schedules and planning things, but when I liberated God, like I do more trusting him than I did planning it all out. And like I would say this, my saying was, I don't just have plans A and B, but I have plans A through Z. That's just how much control I wanted to have. But I relinquished all that, and I live better and freer because I did that.
Right. Because God is like, trust me, like you don't have to do all of that. Like I have you, like take your hands off of it.
Yes.
And I think the thing about trusting God is like, because so for much of our lives, we were playing God, right? Because we wanted that control. So it's like, okay, I got to let go of control. You know, it can be hard, but it's like, once you let it go, you just feel free. Like you can breathe, you know? And so remember, ladies, the number one takeaway for tonight is to let go, let God. And remember, your affirmation for this week and the rest of your life is, Lord, I trust you. And so we do have a giveaway for tonight. Woo, woo. Who loves giveaways? Me. Tonight, Tammy is giving away a 30-minute consultation, and you'll have a choice between a food experience with her or an event experience with her. So I'm excited to give
Tammy, you meant Beatrice.
Beatrice, what did I call you?
Tammy,
God, Tammy. Sorry, Beatrice. Okay, so let's see. Who is gonna win tonight? Let's see who we have here. And it's Christine. Is she still on the call? Yes. Christine. She done went to sleep.
Yes, I'm here. I want food.
Congratulations. She was one of the first ones to show up tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will link you two together. You guys can set up the 30-minute consultation.
Thank you.
You're certainly welcome.
Woohoo! And so, this was good. This was really good tonight. I'm so excited. Look how God works. God knew that we needed Beatrice on the call tonight, not the other scheduled program. See, He knows just what we need, and when we need, He is so good. He is so faithful. He is so intentional. Woo!
He is. Yes,
he is so intentional because He knew you was gonna say yes. Woo.
He did.
So the scripture for tonight is Psalms 27:14. Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. That is Psalms 27:14.
It was actually 13. 13. That's 13. Because I would say this is one of my hopeful verses. It says, sometimes we think heaven will be the only time that we get to see the glory, we get to experience the good life. But David said, I would have fainted had I not believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, which means we can have peace on earth. We can have good things while we're on earth. Our eternal home is heaven, and it'll be better there, but we can experience some of the goodness of God while we're still mortal. And to me, that's encouraging, that life doesn't always have to be tragedy and tragic, but there'll be some good things in life that we get to enjoy.
Yes. So ladies, next week we will be having a previous guest speaker back. I don't know if you guys remember Christy Lacey. She was on during our self-care panel. And so she will be coming back next week, and I'll send all the details out this week. You guys know. And so let's go ahead and end in prayer. And so everyone just open your hearts and bow your head. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight, God. We come to you with grateful hearts, God. Just thanking you for another day, God. Just thanking you for another opportunity to gather together, oh God. Oh God, I just lift all these beautiful ladies up to you, God. You know their needs, you know their heart desires, God. God, you know what they're struggling with, God. As we continue to walk this path with you, and as we continue to try to grow our faith in you, and to always trust you, that no matter what the storm looks like, no matter what the test is, no matter what how big the mountain is, how tall the mountain is, oh God. No matter what our jobs say, no matter what the doctors say, no matter what our bank account says, God, that we're still able to trust you during the storm, God. Please, God, continue to equip us with everything that we need to be successful on this journey with you, God. Oh, God, tonight I come against any attack that the enemy may have on anyone live on this call, God, anyone that may be listening in later, God. I just come against any attack that the enemy may have on their life, God. You know, the enemy has taken territory for too long, God, and it's time for us to get our territory back, God. This territory has always been ours, and it's time for us to get it back, God. We will no longer subdue to the tactics of the enemy, God. Oh, God, we believe in you. We believe in your unlimited power, God. God, may we continue to learn more and more about you. Believe in your promises, God. Believe in your word. And most importantly, believe in who you say we are, oh, God. Oh, God, may we never forget to whom we belong, God, and the mighty power that you have, God. May we never forget that you are the beginning and you are the end, that you're the same God now that you were back then, that you're the same God who helped the blind see. You're the same God that brought people back from the dead, God. You're the same God who freed people from the well, God. You're the same God who breaks down walls, God. Oh, God, that no matter what we face, may we continue to believe in you, God, and continue to understand that you love us, God. You love us as we are, and that anything that you would do for anyone else, you would do the same for us, God. May we be able to let go of control, God. May we be able to give all our burdens to you, God. I don't want it, God. I don't want it. I don't want it, God. It's all you, God. May we always remember that we have the victory, that Jesus died on the cross for all of us, and we have the victory. There is no such thing as winning in this game with you, God, that there's only winning. Let us not forget that you're also that fourth quarter God, the God who just comes in for the win when everyone else has counted you out, when everyone else has thought that we lost. You come in with the victory, God. May we hold on to the God that comes in the last 5 seconds, oh God, to show up and show out for us, God. God, may we continue to be an example of you. May everything that we do, everything that we say, everything that we think represents you and only you, God. God, I ask that you remove any negative thoughts, God, any negative beliefs, God, that may be stopping us and hindering us from fully being able to trust and accept the path that you have for us, God. Help us replace it with your word, God. Help us replace it with your promises, oh God. God, I just pray for those in need, God, those that are in the hospital suffering, God, those who are at home trying to figure out when they're going to get their last meal, God. I pray for the little kid, God, who's just calling out your name, oh God, who just needs love, who just needs help, God. I just pray for those in need, God. Most importantly, God, I just pray for those who lost their lives from the hands of the police, God, especially everyone in the Black Lives Matter movement. I just pray for their families, God. God, may you continue to help us, God. May you continue to come down, God, and just give us love and hope and peace of mind, God. We need you more now than ever, God. We need you right now, God. We need to just feel your love, God. We just need to fill this world with love, God. May we be able to come together and stand strong together, God. May we not be able to look at each other because of the color of our skin, oh God. Not because of the way we talk, not because of our education, oh God. Not because of the way of the car we drive or the house that we live in, God. May we look at each other as individuals, God, that may we understand that everybody deserves to be loved, God. Oh God, I just ask that you give us the mindset to think like you, oh God, to see other people like you, oh God, no matter what they've done to us, no matter what they said to us, may we be able to look at people from your eyes, God. May we be able to look at our lives through you, God, that when you speak to us, God, that we're able to listen and move, that when you open that door, that we're able to walk through it, that when you close that door, that we're able to keep it moving, oh God. May you continue to show up for us in everything that we do. May you continue to go before us and make our crooked path straight. Father, I just thank you for today, God. I thank you for tomorrow, God. May we be able to see the morning light, God. I just pray for our youth, God. I just pray for a better future, oh God. I just pray for a future where they can just walk outside and not fear what might happen to them, oh God, that they can go in for a job interview and not be judged by the color of their skin, God, that they can walk into a store and not be judged by the color of their skin, oh God, that they are treated equal in the eyes of the police and the justice system, oh God. Oh God, I just pray for a future where they could be able to live in the world of true freedom, oh God. Live in the world and have the same opportunities and even better opportunities than others, God. Oh God, I just hope that we just build a strong foundation of love and of you in our youth, God, that we're able to help them find their identity in you and not in Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or any other social media, oh God. May they know who they are in your eyes. May they not lean on other people's feelings, oh God, or may they not lean on what's trending, God. May you continue to give them a heart that seeks after you and only you, God, that even when they get lost, God, that they're able to come back to you, God. May we be able as parents, as aunts, as grandmothers, as cousins, as just women of God, to be able to speak wisdom into them, oh God. Just speak the right words, but also have an ear to listen to what they're saying, God. I just thank you for Beatrice for coming on tonight. I just thank you for her yes, God. I just thank you for allowing her to bless us tonight with her wonderful words, God. Oh God, I just pray for her family. May you continue to bless them and cover them and protect them, oh God, and just fill them up with your everlasting love. May her business prosper. May you continue to give her direction as she adjusts to the new norm of event planning, God. I just pray for all the ladies on this call, God, and their families, God. I come to you in the mighty name of Jesus. I declare and decree that all of these things, God, you said that when two on earth agree on anything, that the Father in heaven will make it happen, God. We come boldly to your throne, God. We ask, we seek, we pray, we believe in the mighty name of your Son, Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
All right, ladies.
Amen. Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, Beatrice.
For joining in.
God bless.
Have a great weekend. Remember,
Wonderful weekend, everybody.
I love you, and so does God.